46, big day, big-time linebacker, spoke with him. And here is the first question that we asked him, dealing with a throwback to Cougar Illustrated. Shay, I saw a picture of you in Cougar Illustrated from 1995, I believe, in your workout gear in the old weight room, arms flexed, feeling all good. Do you remember taking pictures like that and staging things like that? And if you, or do you even have those as relics somewhere around your house?
Please tell us you still have that.
So to be honest, no, I don't. But it constantly gets thrown back in my face. So it's hard to get away from it. I'm definitely familiar with it, but no, I do not have any of that stuff.
Why would you want to get away from that? That was awesome.
That's just not my style. I do appreciate it. I look back on it and obviously enjoy it for what it was. And at the time, I thought I was a big deal. But as you get further away, you realize that there's other things going on.
The great former BYU linebacker Shay Muibrook with us on BYU Sports Nation. It's been a little while since we talked to you, since you were back for the 20-year celebration of the 1996 team. What's changed since then? What are you up to these days?
Well, at that time I was just getting ready to enter the law enforcement community, and so I've completed that. I went through the academy, and now I'm a deputy sheriff for the Merced County Sheriff's Office.
Are there any interesting stories that you can share with us about your new job? This is fascinating to me.
Probably not. I mean, there's 100 things that goes on, and that's what I like about it. It's similar to football. There's a few key. It's in my wheelhouse, so the skill set is still the same.
It's fitting. When you played linebacker, I think your nickname could have been the deputy,
the sheriff,
or the sheriff.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's obviously an honor, and I enjoy it. And I got so my oldest son is entering his first year of high school football, and we got a second one in his second year of football, and I got a third that's going to do karate, and then my daughter obviously is on the other side, and she keeps us. We're just going 100 miles an hour, and I'm not even the key piece. It's obviously my wife that does the majority of the work.
Great stuff. And one of the great number 46s at BYU. We are 46 days away from BYU kicking off the season against Arizona in what looks like a very brutal schedule. But I kind of want to draw some parallels to something that happened in your career. In 1995, your junior season, BYU goes 7-4, do not go to a bowl game. Last year, BYU does not go to a bowl game. Things did not turn out in any way, shape, or form the way that BYU fans hoped for, BYU coaches anticipated. Yet you bounce back your senior year and go 14-1 and have one of the most memorable seasons in BYU football history. What changed between the two seasons to help you take that leap as a team? And maybe is there something there that the BYU team now could look at and think, okay, if we change this, then maybe we can go on a little bit of a run ourselves?
Yeah, that's an interesting parallel, and I would say probably leadership. I think there was a different attitude. Obviously, I know my junior year, I felt like we had the talent, but not necessarily in the senior role. But we all kind of relished that moment, and it was like, okay, this is going to be our chance to put our stamp on BYU history. And there was just a lot of talent, but at the same time, there was a lot of leaders on that team individually that collectively, we wanted to work together and we wanted to make the most of that opportunity. And so hopefully these guys this year can bounce back as we did. And, I would just kind of encourage them, to play with a chip on your shoulder and embrace the moment. There wasn't a team in the country that we felt like we couldn't beat that year in '96. And we embraced that moment, and we knew that we were coming into the Pigskin Classic, the kickoff, against A&M, and it was a great opportunity, great stage just to kind of get things going.
As Spencer mentioned, obviously, that 96 team culminated with an unbelievable win over K-State in the Cotton Bowl. And in that game, I don't even know if saying you dominated in that game even gives it justice with how well you played. What do you remember most specifically about that game?
Well, there's a lot of things, but I knew it was going to be my last game in a Cougar uniform. I knew it was going to be my last opportunity to again kind of leave my mark on the program, and both individually and collectively as a team. And so one of the goals I had personally was when I came to BYU is I knew I was going to get an opportunity to play early. And I took ownership and tried to impress that on my teammates rather than shy away from competition. We all embraced competition, and we worked hard to bring in star recruits, you know what I mean, people that were going to help our team and possibly take our jobs. But at the cost of being successful, that's what it took. And so at that moment, that's really what it came down to for us in the Cotton Bowl was the opportunity to go out there and cement our legacy as a great team and for Lavelle and the coaching staff and just kind of validate the team and the talent that we were.
Now, Brian Cavanaugh, I'm sure, still has nightmares about you pursuing him in the backfield as the Kansas State quarterback. At what point during that game did you think, man, I've got a lot of quarterback sacks?
Actually, never. It was just one of those things where you're just in the moment, and I think that's what football is you gotta, you know what I mean, you gotta line up and you gotta play every play like it's your last. And if you're worried about the tackle you missed the last play, or if you're got your heads in the cloud about a sack that you got or a play that you made, you're gonna miss the next one. And so I think at that point, you know, I mean, the game was just, and it was funny because I was reflecting on some things, knowing that I was going to talk to you guys. And, it was just a matter of being in the moment. And it's kind of like the Eminem song, you know, I know I'm dating myself, but you got to just lose yourself in the moment and play every moment like it's your last.
Oh, that's an all-time classic. Don't worry about dating yourself. By the way, 6 sacks in the Cotton Bowl, still a Cotton Bowl record.
That's unbelievable. We're talking with Shay Muibrook, one of the best linebackers to ever put on a BYU uniform here on BYU Sports Nation. So now you played at BYU from 93 to 96, and during that same time, it overlapped with a couple of current BYU coaches, that being head coach Kalani Sitake as well as Ed Lamb. Do you stay in contact with them, and what are your thoughts seeing them run the program and being in charge of things now?
I don't stay in contact with them as much as I should, but it's kind of one of those things. They're family. It's like, you know what I mean, when you go a little while without talking to your brother, then or your dad, or you know what I mean, whatever it is. As soon as you talk to him, you pick up right where you left off, and you know that that bond is still there. I'm completely thrilled that those guys are running the program because I feel like they're grounded in BYU legacy and the traditions of BYU. I know that the program's in good hands, and you know, I mean, it's a tough job, and I would say one of the toughest in the country based on the dynamics of BYU football and a lot of things you've got to manage there. So I think they're doing a good job, and they have my confidence.
The pride of Riverside County, Deputy Sheriff Shay Muibrook is with us on BYU Sports Nation. I love that you brought up leadership. And last year, with BYU's forgettable 4-9 season, we all kind of were wondering, okay, who are the leaders? Who are the vocal leaders? And we couldn't really pinpoint one. You said there were several on the 96 team. What do you do to implement that into a team that the previous year didn't really have vocal leadership?
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of I don't know how to say it, but I mean, you gotta find those alpha males that are going to step forward and they want and embrace the moment and aren't scared of that opportunity. I mean, I literally almost I went down the roster of the 96 team almost to a man. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So it wasn't just like, hey, we got 4 team captains. You had 22, 25 guys that craved the attention and had 100% confidence that they were, the head man in charge out on the field. So what I'm saying is you collectively have to find people that are going to challenge you to be the best. And when you want to be the best on the field, so that was the other thing is of those players and of that makeup, it wasn't just I want to be a starter. I want to be, all league. Every single one of those guys had something to prove and wanted to gain national recognition and felt like they could go and compete on any level, on any team and be a starter. It wasn't like, hey, I'm glad to be here. And to the same point, I feel like a majority of those players felt like they were slighted in the process and had something to prove. And so to your point, to get to leadership, you're going to need some of these players to step forward and maybe come out of their shell and be a little bit vocal. You got to hold your teammates accountable, and you got to hold yourself accountable. Are they doing all they can in the weight room, in the film room? Those kind of things I think you have to embrace as far as, hold yourself to a higher standard and understand that you have a tremendous opportunity to go out and represent a great school, and the legacy is there. And are you holding yourself to the highest standards? Because people are watching you and expecting you to uphold those standards.
Shay, great stuff. It's always fun to catch up with you. Congratulations on becoming a deputy sheriff down in Southern California, and let's do it again soon. Yeah, no problem. Hey, quick correction. It's up here in Northern California. Oh, Northern California. Okay, so where is it again? And it's going to be Merced County. Merced County. Okay, well, we need to get that right. Still, deputy sheriff, whether Riverside or Merced, it's the real deal.
Shay is here to serve, protect, and dominate quarterbacks.
Yeah, still looking for the opportunity to run people down.
Great stuff. Thanks, Shay.
All right, thanks, guys.
Shay Muibrook on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.